What's up guys, Akil here. This is going to be more of an update video than it is going to be a guide video. This is just going to talk about a lot of the changes that we did. I'm not going to heavily edit or do things to this video. This is just going to be me talking for a few minutes. So yeah, where do we want to start? Most people probably want to hear about talents. I guess I don't need that yet. Okay, so this was the old Surrender build. Please don't think Surrender is obsolete anymore. You do have a lot of options now, but Surrender still has its place on certain fights. And actually, this was our Cenarius fight. And I did use Surrender for this one, so obviously it still does well. I didn't like top the charts or anything as far as like in the world, but obviously this is Mythic plus Cenarius. I still did quite a lot of damage. So it can work. Let's just quickly go over talent changes, I guess. I'll try to pull up. There we go. Let's go to Icy Veins. Icy Veins, super great website. Highly recommend checking it out. It's they employ like the best people in the world to write on it this year, or maybe this past 2 years. I don't remember, but they did a really good job. And they make things really easy to understand. So we're going to start with talents, because that's what everybody wants to see, and right after I'm done with talents, everybody's going to leave the video. Please don't do that, because there's a lot more information on here. So start with the first line. Twisted Fate, Fortress of the Mind, Shadow Word Void. Void took a pretty big buff, I think. It has 10 seconds off the cooldown. Yeah, so it used to be 30-second recharge time. Now it's 20. That's cool. Still just not good enough. Twisted Fate, 20% damage is just so big. You can't pass it up. Fortress of the Mind has a question mark. Don't know why. It probably has its place in certain things. It does more damage. It's viable against single target, but as soon as there is even an additional target, Twisted Fate is better. Yep, totally agree. Anytime you can proc Twisted Fate in a fight, like if you can pop a Shadow Word Pain or a Death or something on a target, and it ticks or does damage or whatever below 20%, you just got 10% damage to multiple targets. It's so good, which is, you know, almost every single fight. So yeah, I would never not take Twisted Fate, unless I was just testing something out. 30 tier line, Body and Soul, I'm just super preference towards that. Super good. They did buff Masochism to make you take less damage, so if you're having trouble dying, maybe. I still just prefer Body and Soul. That sounds like a healer problem to me. 45 talent line, reduce cooldown of Psychic Scream, just nah. I don't know of a reason you would need to mind control. So Mind Bomb, this also procs your Legendary Ring if you have it. Super great. Okay, so here's where we get to the first big changes. The 60 tier line is very boss fight like dependent, I guess, on which one you want to use. Lingering Insanity. This used to be Void Lord. Don't care what Void Lord is anymore because it doesn't exist. Lingering Insanity was the buff you used to get during or after you exited Void form. That no longer is a passive, it is a talent. The current Lingering Insanity will diminish by 20%? 2%. God, 20% would be so ridiculous. When Void form ends, its haste buff fades by 2% every second instead of ending immediately. So real quick, the old Lingering Insanity, you exited Void form, you got the stacks, and then when you went back into Void form, you lost your remaining Lingering Insanity. This is no longer the case. You're getting back into Void forms quicker, and this stays even if you do. What was that? Sorry, phone ring. Okay, so that makes this super strong. I love this talent now. I've played it pretty much the entire time since the talent changes went into effect. So basically, you can exit Void form, get your Lingering Insanity, and you get back into Void form pretty quickly nowadays because everything generates additional Insanity. If you're in execute phase, you can probably get back into Void form within 5 to 6 seconds if your cooldowns just happen to come up at the right times. So being back into Void form while still having probably like 40 to 50 stacks of Lingering Insanity, which would be crazy. That's like the dream. That's probably never going to happen. But yeah, like, it's super good. Reaper of Souls, if you're playing Surrender still, or if you just like executing early. There's no way that this could be bad. Just comparatively to the other things, it's gonna have its place. If you're playing Surrender, definitely it has to be your go-to. Other than that, it's just a good talent. It's not a great talent. Void Ray, exact same thing, has its place if you need to AoE down some stuff. This will buff your Mind Seer damage. Cool. Still leveling your Insanity way more. So I would pretty much leave this talent on, and then if you are struggling and need to change some stuff, pop one of the other two in, respectively, for whichever type of fight. 75 talent line. Sandline. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Could be Sandlane. Sandline. I'm gonna go with Sandline. Sandline, I love this talent. I used this before I ran Surrender because I hated Surrender. It's not that I hate the Surrender playstyle, it's just that I hated being forced to play the one thing. I wanted options, and now I got them. I love playing this in Mythic Pluses, but now it's just single target. This is your single target DPS talent choice for sure. Pretty much nobody's gonna argue that point. Auspicious Spirits is the counter to that. It is the AoE one. Pretty much nobody's gonna argue that. Shadowy Insight is definitely just garbage now, especially with the belt nerf. Just don't even worry about that. I still run Sandline for cleave or AoE just because I personally love it. If you're doing AoE fights, I highly suggest Auspicious Spirits, even though I don't like it. I also don't have a lot of crit right now, which makes my spirits not that great. 90 talent line. It recommends Power Infusion. It's the only one with the check mark. Power Infusion just gives you a cooldown. Why would you not take a cooldown? There's no reason not to take a cooldown. It's just a cooldown. It's a DPS cooldown. That's so big. You get a whole nother cooldown. Misery, I think, has its place. Let's see what they say about Misery. I didn't even read it a second ago. Oh, it's right here. Misery is good for Mythic Pluses, dungeon farming. It's very niche for raid encounters. Totally agree. I did use it. However, you should carefully consider, a good example, raids Il'gynoth encounter where constant multi-dot is taking place. Exactly. I used this on Il'gynoth. Okay, so yeah. Turns out I'm not dumb. Okay, so Power Infusion gives you a cooldown. I'll just go across the board. Power Infusion gives you a cooldown. Why is that not good? It's so good. It's so good. Especially for big burst fights. Or anytime you need a little bit extra burst damage. Yeah. Plus it's just a whole nother cooldown. Super good. Misery is good if you need to multi-dot a lot of things. Dragons would be kind of an example, but the ads typically die in there very quickly, so the dots don't really tick that long. Il'gynoth, also a great example. Just make sure you aren't killing the blobs too fast. You can definitely wipe your raid that way. I almost did. Misery is really good for just multi-dotting, basically. And Mindbender is my personal favorite. Mindbender is what I ran almost the entire time. I did not use it on Il'gynoth or Cenarius. On Cenarius, I ran Surrender. I'll go over that in a minute. So if you're running Surrender, you have to run Power Infusion. If you're dotting like up to 10 to 20 different things, Misery is pretty good. And then Mindbender is just good if you like it. Going back down here, they don't say it's bad. They say Mindbender is a good choice as well, as it provides these excellent insanity generation, blah, blah, blah. So they didn't say it was bad. They just don't think it's as good as Power Infusion, which I totally understand the argument. I personally just like Mindbender better. The 100 talents, the big changes. We'll start with Surrender. I'll kind of go back across. With Surrender, they nerfed it. It used to give you an additional 150% insanity generation. Now it's only down to an additional 100%. So obviously your Void Torms are going to be, not Void Torms. Your Surrenders are going to be shorter. But they have buffed your damage across the board. So like the old Surrender was do absolute garbage damage the first 60% of the fight, and the last 40% of the fight you do big damage, and then hopefully they just even you out. Basically you're saying I'm gonna be really bad and then I'm gonna do really good. So if you do really bad and then do okay, like you didn't cancel out the bad part. That was where a lot of Shadow Priests struggled. Like you had to do so well at the end to counter your bad part, and a lot of people just couldn't get that mark across. So yeah, they kind of made Surrender a little bit easier because you don't do garbage in the beginning. You do okay in the beginning, and at the end, you can do okay, and then you just did okay across the board. That's totally fine. But if they still give you the potential to just pop off and do really great, or die on accident and just do really bad. So Surrender's in a lot better spot now. Has its niche fights, like Ursoc and Cenarius, I think are okay for it. But things like Ellerith or Nathindra, where Surrender is not always possible because you might take too many rot stacks, that type thing, obviously go with a different talent because Surrender is just not good. Shadow Crash is more recommended for Mythic Pluses, I think. Yeah, Mythic Pluses, Shadow Crash. It's the only one recommended. It'll probably have niche fights too. It wasn't needed in Il'gynoth because, Il'gynoth has the most ads, and which is probably where Shadow Crash would get the most beneficial. I probably could top the chart with it, because it's just so much damage, but at the same time, like, it's not needed. Like, we already have 20 people AoEing. I don't need an extra AoE damage spell. So yeah, not really going to cover that much. Legacy of the Void, this is the really, really, really big change, because this is the one everybody's going to, if you're not playing Surrender, obviously. So what do they change about it? It used to be you could go in at 70, now you can go in Void Form at 65. That doesn't really matter to me. Increases your damage dealt by 5%. So they did nerf Void Form. Void Form used to be 30% increased damage, now it is only 20%. This gives you an additional 5 of that back, basically. So you're doing 25% additional damage while in Void Form. Why does this matter? So going in at 65 is pretty big, even though I just said it didn't matter to me. So when you exit Void Form, you don't have to get to 100. You can only get to 65 and just pop in there, and then your first little abilities or whatever get you to the 100 most of the time. Plus the 5 additional... Okay, so like this is why I like this talent build. This is my other talent build. I ran this one pretty much the entirety of my Mythic Emerald Nightmare last night. The reason I like this, Legacy of the Void, super great when paired with Lingering Insanity, because Lingering Insanity gives you that buff while exiting Void Form, and Legacy gets you back into Void Form faster. So you're getting into those Void Forms with a big haste buff still active, so you're doing just big damage in the beginning of your Void Form, when used to, you know, it just wasn't popping off initially. Excuse me. However, for single target, they do recommend Power Infusion. They do not recommend Mindbender. They recommend Power Infusion pretty much across the board for rating. Oh, they do. I don't know why I said pretty much. They do. The reason is because it just gives you an additional cooldown. That's super cool. I personally like Mindbender. It's just what I like. And I'm doing okay damage with it. If I come to the point where I'm just doing crap damage again, I'll have to switch to whatever they say is best, which is what I did with Surrender, and I hated it. So yeah, that's the big talent changes. I'm going to do guide videos on the different talent builds, so I just kind of need you guys to comment and let me know which ones you want me to do. I would like to start with this one because this is the one I love playing, but if you guys want me to redo the Surrender video, I will definitely hop on that. If you want me to do the Power Infusion builds, just let me know which talents you want to see the most, and I will get on that. I don't think I covered stats that much yet. So just to super quickly recap how Surrender worked. With Surrender, you had to have a very, very high haste stat, which meant you had to sacrifice a lot of other stats. In order for me, I've already changed up some of my gear, but I used to have the 35% haste and whatnot. So when I had the 35% haste, I was actually running like an 835 neck. I actually just picked this up with haste on it, so that's kind of irrelevant. But there were a lot of 880 necks that dropped, and they just weren't as good, mainly because they don't have int on them, so it's not like a big increase. But like, think about that. I had an 835 neck and an 880 was dropping, and I just couldn't use it because I lost too much haste. I've already sold my old necker. I would show you. I think I had a socket. I think that's why it was so good. Actually, yeah, I held on to this ring. It was an 845 ring. I had so many different rings drop. I just got this one last week. It's an 880. I haven't even gemmed or enchanted it yet. So yeah, like I had to sacrifice like hundreds of like item level just because I needed the haste. You no longer have to do that. Crit is your highest stat priority. Let me just pop back over to that. We don't have stat weights anymore, which sucks. I don't know if I mentioned that already. Stat priority. So our new stat priority is crit, haste, mastery, intellect, versatility. I'm not 100% sure on this intellect. It says it's been updated, but I thought intellect was going to go up at least 1 to 2 spots. Like, it's still being last is baffling to me. I mean, I don't even consider versatility a stat. So yeah, like in my opinion, it's last. So we're switching from haste to crit. It was haste crit, now it's crit haste. There's no stat weight, so you don't know whether 200 crit's better than 500 mastery yet. Exactly, you just have to play with it. What does that mean? Whoop, technical difficulties there. Okay, sorry. So what does the switch from crit and haste mean? So our old haste, basically the only point in our old haste was to get everything off cooldown as fast as we possibly could, because during surrender, that is what it required. Like, we had to get as many Mind Blasts out, as many Void Bolts out, as many Shadow Deaths out. We had to get everything out really, really quickly, because if we didn't, we died. The old way of doing it was about quantity, basically. You would surrender and then stay alive as long as you could. You didn't even have to output that much damage. Like, you just had to stay alive to let your dots build up on your Mass Hysteria, let other things build up. Oh god, don't fall off. Almost knocked the speaker off. Okay, so we don't require that anymore because surrender is not the go-to. You have options, which makes crit a lot better. The difference in haste and crit: haste makes you hit obviously more and quicker. Crit just makes you possibly hit harder. Why is crit better? Shadow Priest already hit really, really fast. Think about 2 dots ticking all the time. If you have multiple targets, 2, 4, 6, whatever, you have so many dots ticking all of the time. Your Mind Flay is technically a dot that hits 3 times. Like, you already hit so many times. If you have more crit, obviously, you've already got the quantity, and you can just start critting more and more and more often. That is why crit is so much stronger with us. Also, it's going to pop your spirits, which is super good too. As far as mastery goes, I guess mastery is just, it's never going to be great for us because it only buffs 3 spells, right? Both dots and then Void Bolt. Like, if it increased Mind Blast too, then it would be really good, but it's just not. Other big changes? What else changed on us? That's probably all the big information everybody wanted to know. Little things like, here we go. Shadow Word Death generates 15 insanity up from 10. Mind Blast generates 15 up from 12. So yeah, everything generating more insanity means you're gonna be getting more void forms off. This is super cool because it's the new mechanic they added this expansion. Void form is super fun to play with, especially with Legacy. With Legacy, the Void getting in there quicker is you're literally going Void form, out of Void form. You're spending more time in Void form than you are out of it with Legacy most of the time. It's kind of the opposite with Surrender. Surrender is more about maximizing your shadow form. It's about maximizing your downtime and then one big void form. Obviously, you want to be in void form as much as you can. I'm not saying don't go into void form, blah, blah, blah. So I guess we could talk about like fight-specific stuff. This is Warcraft Logs. If you aren't familiar with the website, it breaks down your fights super well. You just have to have somebody logging them. What is this? This is Cenarius. I ran Surrender for this fight. A quick note, there is an additional Shadow Priest right here. He is a main Discipline Priest. He is one of our 2 healers that can swap into DPS. I have helped him a little bit, although he likes to do his own thing. So I'm trying not to be like, oh my god, you're doing stuff wrong. So yeah, he did 370 this fight. I did literally almost 200 more. I did 565. He did not run Surrender. I did run Surrender. The reason I ran Surrender on Cenarius is because I know the fight extremely well. I've done it many times. I know exactly where my cooldowns need to be placed in order to maximize my damage. I mean, as you can see, I scored in the 93rd percentile of my item level. Obviously, across the board, I'm still really behind. But at my item level, I performed very well. even against all of the previously big surrender numbers. So yeah, I did 570. That's nothing to shy away from. Let's take a different fight. This is a good example. So note that I am way up here and he's way down here. Again, he's not a main Shadow Priest. That's not a big deal. So on Il'gynoth, look where he was. He was second. I did not perform that well in this fight, and he did so good, in my opinion. He has a really high item level because he has really good discipline gear, but he doesn't have that great of shadow gear. But that just goes to show you, this guy doesn't main Shadow Priest. He's never main Shadow Priest. He's always main Dis. Maybe Holy... No, I think he's always main Dis. Yeah, since Wrath. So for him to just be able to pick up this spec with little guidance from me, like, boom, he's doing big damage. On Il'gynoth, this is Il'gynoth, right? Il'gynoth, I ran a very different talent build. You would think Shadow Crash would be okay. If you want to top the meter, maybe. I think this is the talent build I ran. So with Legacy of the Void, you can get in there quicker, blah, blah, blah. Misery is super cool because there are anywhere from 4 to like 10 or 12 blobs up at a time. And instead of having to Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain. So imagine dotting 10 things, and a global is typically 1 second. So imagine 1 extra global per blob is 10 seconds gone that you could have been doing other stuff. I just saved myself 10 seconds per each time that happens in the fight. That's an extra at least like 30 to 50 seconds of time that I'm damaging where I would have been dotting. But those 1 seconds really add up, and in our spec, those 1 seconds are very big. How did I get AFK? And Voidray was pretty good because when the blobs did get stacked, or when they were at least close, I got to cleave them down with the Mind Seer effect. So yeah, that was Il'gynoth. I'm not saying these are the best talents, I'm saying this is what I ran, and this is what I did. Take it as you please. Dragons, I feel like I could have done a lot better on Dragons. I did 440. I'm trying to think. We heroed at the beginning. I want to say I ran the build that I like. So I ran Mindbender and Lingering. I think Dragons is probably still a good surrender fight, but this was when I was testing out some of the stuff. Voidray, the cleave would have been pretty good for the spirits, maybe. I just really liked Lingering. What else have we got? Ellerith. This is one of those fights where surrender is just not going to be good. I don't feel like I played it very well. This was only my second fight. I sat for Nathindra because I didn't need the gear. So I scored 78th percentile, did 380. It's not bad, but I feel like I didn't play that fight very well. Let me check. I had 2 wipes. I was only doing 300 there. And I was only doing 300 there. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of like what I just said about Cenarius. I know where all the cooldowns go. In this fight, because I was playing a different spec, doing all different stuff, I had no idea what I was doing. I was really just playing it by ear. Is that my phone? No, okay. And yeah, so I didn't do well, but I mean, that's more than a lot of people, I think, maybe. So Ursoc, this was the first fight I came in. Ursoc is probably one of the fights where surrender is almost arguably like the best. But I did not run surrender. I ran this talent build for Ursoc, and I did 475. I don't think that's my highest. I'm pretty sure I've been over 500 with surrender before. I just wanted to see what it was going to do because I didn't know which fights I was going to sit out of. Did well. Not super happy with it, but happy that I did well, and showing this talent can work. So yeah. Guys, I think I've gone on way too long. Any other big changes, Let me know what you want to see. As far as the talent builds, let me know which videos you want me to do first. Those will be edited, so it won't be me rambling on and like slurring stuff. Let me just pull up. Let's pull up comments from the other one, because people had questions. Sorry I didn't respond to everybody. I got kind of busy at a certain point. Found out a couple months ago, or a month ago, gonna be having a baby. So that's happening. So yeah, this was the one that everybody commented on. I don't know why I have so few subs. Probably because it's like only my first or second video. Big video anyway. Helpful. Answered that one. Oh, add-ons. Add-ons was a big question that everybody asked about. Or a couple people asked about, not everybody. So what add-ons do I use? Exorcist Raid Tools. This is specific to my guild. That's the word. My guild uses this. I had never used it before I joined this guild. This guild's pretty cool. I've never messed around with this. The only things that I've messed around is we have notes that we use. I'm currently not in the raid group, but when you're in the raid group, like it loads stuff. You can look at loot rolls, past stuff. You can see like who pulled, if you have like accidental pulls, fight logs. It's a pretty cool add-on. I haven't experimented with it. I can't say a whole lot about it. Bag-on's my bag thing. I only have 88 gold. I haven't played a whole lot lately. Like I just said, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff outside of the game. Bartender is my bar add-on. Highly recommended. I've used this since like BC, I think, or whenever it came out. I don't know. SCADA is my DPS meter. I use this one specifically because I can have multiple windows open. I can track like my dispels for on fights that I'm dispelling or mass dispelling, whatever. I think that's really cool. I guess I don't have recount anymore. Is it recount? Oh, it's recount show. I'm stupid. So yeah, I have a recount add-on macro that automatically does it for me. I forgot what to type. Okay, so I do have recount, and I loved recount. Recount was always my favorite. But SCADA was just, it's better in my opinion. I used recount for like 3 expansions, and then this expansion I switched to SCADA. The big one everybody wants to know about is my weak auras, which is this one. Weak auras is I highly recommend this. This is one of those add-ons that lets you basically create add-ons. The way I have mine set up is I'll just DPS something. Oh, I don't even know what talents I have on. So you can see as soon as I entered combat, everything popped up. That's how I have it set up. Everything is combat triggered. So let's note right here. This thing pops up as soon as Mind Blast is ready. See, it's gone. 3, 2, 1. Boom, it's gonna pop up. That's telling me I can look down there without having to look at this icon. I can, like, that square is so big, I don't even have to look down. I know it's there. Typically, I know when it's gonna come off cooldown anyway. Same thing, you just saw this light up because it's now usable. I can now use it. Same thing with this one. Mindbender is up. That means I can use it. Dispersion's over here, and Void Torrent's right here. I use Void Torrent, it goes away. So right here, my cast bar, I think that's quartz, maybe? So whenever I'm surrendered, obviously I'm not surrendered right now. Don't even have surrender. Same thing with Shadow Death right here. There's a bar that pops up right here. That's my insanity bar. It's just easier for me to see it right here than it is like up there. Vampiric Touch, Shattered Pain, these are very self-explanatory. The only thing that you see how this one starts glowing is because it's below 5 seconds. This one will start glowing below 5 seconds as well. That's basically just there to say, hey, look at me, you need to refresh me. That's there for me. Same thing with this one. This one's glowing because I have 2 charges. As soon as I use one, one goes away. Or the glowing goes away, sorry. Mindbender's coming off cooldown. That means it's gonna pop up right here. Dispersion, it's gone away. Yeah. So this is how that's how that works. You can set it up to do whatever you want. You can position it wherever you want around the screen. There are ones on the Shadow Priest forums on shadowpriest.com. How to priest. That's the website. I will. Dang, still in combat. I will. Let's see. How do we export to string? Okay, so yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. I will show you how to do this, I guess, since people wanted it. You have to download weak auras, install it, whatever. So the slash command is weak auras, or slash WA. Slash WA brings up this menu. If you guys want a video on how to make things later on, I guess I can make one. There's tons of them out there. I recommend you just go watch those. So I have mine set up as a group. That way I can export it easier to you guys. These all used to be like individual things. So here's what I'm going to do. Right click. I'm going to export to string. And I'm going to copy that. I'll put it in the comments below. It'll probably link to a text dump website, because that is a lot of text. Okay, so in order for you to do this, WA, bring up your menu, new, import. These are all your options to make the thing. So you go to new, and you're gonna click import. Paste. So boom, paste it. It shows you exactly what you're getting, and you can hit the import button here or the done button. I have them all named as to what they do. So bam. That's how you do that if you want my specific setup. My setup only really works if you have Bartender also enabled, because if you have the default thing and then it just doesn't really work. So were there any other questions? I think that's all the questions. Oh my god, this video's going so long. I'm sorry, guys. So if anybody has any new questions, let me know. What's your item level, and is that a 110 dummy? I don't think it is. I don't know. It's a skull. That means it's a higher level than me. Yeah, these are 102. So yeah, this has to be a 110 or a 112, whatever. I don't know. It's a 110 dummy, I assume, at least. I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. Current item level is 885. I could do like damage here to show you guys what kind of damage, what damage looks like. It's nothing crazy. And I'm not gonna video my hand. You can see which buttons I use. I use 1 through 4, and then use F and G most of the time. Played Shadow Priest for a really long time, and I pretty much have like this rotation memorized. 3 used to be Devouring Plague. Mind Blast was always there. Mind Flay's been there for a long time. That's since Wrath. Used to be Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, Devouring Plague, Mind Blast. I don't remember what F was. It might have been Shadow Word Death. Thought I had a different spot. So let's see here. I'm only doing 175k because I don't even have my dots active. I was just getting it into execute range. So look, clicking off buffs. I have no buffs other than Shadow Form. It's in execute range. I will reset this damage meter. So this is what execute damage looks like with my preferred talent build. Obviously this won't be your static damage because I'm in execute range the entire time, so I'm proccing Twist of Fate. So yeah, we'll pop Void Form here. Okay, so here's like a little tip on mine. I will go over this later, but this is what I'm going to show you right now. Same rotation as normal. Pop all your stuff while you're in Void Form. I accidentally used the wrong spell right there, that's okay. So check this out. You can use Mindbender in conjunction with your Dispersion. So I have Mindbender up right now, and every time it attacks I gain Insanity. Look at that. I'm gaining Insanity while dispersed while having that up. So it's making I'm getting up to 40 stacks. Boom, almost at 38. And look at it ticking away. It's at 32, 28, 26, 24. It looks like you just lose 2 stacks. And look at this, I'm going back into Void Form already. I was looking at the Lingering Insanity buff on accident. It's still there. Like, it's still there, and I've already been into Void Form. I had a dot fall off, gotta refresh that. That's another big thing, is our dots don't fully refresh anymore. They only get like 6 seconds, I think. So I'm doing 480 right now. That's not bad, I guess. I think it'll peak over 5, maybe. When I was messing around with a lot of stuff, I got Surrender up to... Ooh, what did I get Surrender up to? I think Surrender was over 7. But obviously, you know, it was like perfect Surrender situation. This build I think got to 550 before it tapered off. I have different gear now. I need to enchant and regen some stuff. So it's gonna be a little different. I think I was at 550, and then the other one was at like 560. So like everything's pretty close in my opinion. So I'm doing 460 standstill with no buffs at all. Like food buff flask would instantly give me another like 80k DPS, that type of stuff. And a pot would go even higher. So yeah, that's just kind of like to show you what. Fuck it, I'll just surrender. After I wait another 12 seconds. I'm only gonna get one because I'm not gonna wait 10 minutes to do another part of this video. It's already gone on way too long. Oh my god, it's like a 30-minute video. I'm so sorry guys. This is an update video and I just went for so long. Let me get this dummy back down real quick. Into execute range. Excuse me. So I guess just I'm really happy with these changes because I don't know. We have options now. That's super cool. I'm tired of playing the same thing all the time. Okay, so let this void form wear off. Cool, that's gone. Let me get my insanity back. Okay. Again, super ideal situation. Ah, stupid Void Tendril. Okay. Everything's off cooldown. Bam. It's not that the drain is any stronger now, it's just that the your insanity generation has just gone down. Like everything generates more insanity, yeah, but the fact that you don't get that bonus anymore is the big part. So Zinnias, the other Shadow Priest that runs with us sometimes, he couldn't get a second torrent off prior to using his power infusion, which obviously that's a pretty big issue because then you lose your ability to do stuff later. You do have the power infusion much sooner now, I will say that. But you can still get to your second torrent without having to use up your power infusion. Although I might die right here. Oh, I didn't. What torrent? Oh, thank Jesus. Okay, so I'm using power infusion right out of this. Because the drain is already so big. This is the part where most people struggled before. As you can hear me, I'm frantically hitting my buttons. I'm not even gonna hit 100 stacks. I've already played it very poorly. Yeah. So I think I was at 90 stacks right there. I was doing 650, so boom. I mean, like I said, I was doing over 700 with like flask and stuff. So surrender still does really good. You're not gonna get a third torrent off. Maybe if you have the belt you can, not sure. So yeah, I will make more videos soon, guys. Sorry this one took so very long. Let me know what you want to see. If you need more of my add-on stuff, let me know. Any questions, let me know. I will try to be super active, or more active as I can, especially when Nighthole comes out. I'll help you guys on the fights, different stuff. So yeah, hit me up, guys. Thanks for watching.